All right. Hello, everyone. I am doing this video today on my laptop instead of using my phone. So thought we'd test something a little bit new today. All right. Today we are reading this book right here, which is 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness by Jim Rohn. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever listened to any talks, any books, or anything by Jim Rohn? Because if you haven't, then you're definitely missing out. And this one's a little bit personal for me because Jim Rohn was the very first person that I had ever listened to in the business space, in the self-development space. And, it's just someone that is a really incredible guy and has changed a lot of lives. And that also counts for mine as well, too. So, by the way, the reason why I make these videos is because I read one business book every single day. And when I record a little video and I talk about it, it helps me remember what I am reading about in these books. And so thank you for being here because you're helping me out by checking this out. And also, I hope that something we talk about today might spark something in you to get you to go out and work on yourself and on your business as well. So thanks for being here. So 7 strategies for wealth and happiness. I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of a spoiler alert. And I'll tell you what the 7 strategies are. So unleash the power of goals. Seek knowledge is number 2. Number 3 is learn how to change. Number 4 is control your finances. Number 5 is master time. Number 6 is surround yourself with winners. And number 7 is learn the art of living well. And so there's, I don't know if you can argue with those. I definitely can't argue with those at all. So the first one that I want to talk to you about today is unleash the power of goals. And so let's go ahead and head over to that page, which is on page 21. Okay, so I'm going to read you a little thing here from the book. So one morning, 2 weeks after I started working for him, Mr. Shoaff and I were having breakfast together. Just as I was about to finish my eggs, he said, "Jim, let's take a look at your list of goals so that we can review and discuss them. Maybe that's the best way I can help you right now." And then Jim said, "But I don't have a list with me," I replied. "Well, is it in your car or at home somewhere?" "No, sir, I don't have a list anywhere." Mr. Shoaff sighed. "Well, young man, looks like this is where we'd better begin." So, and that is exactly where we all need to begin. And I really wanted to talk about this point specifically because writing goals I've had a lot of success with writing goals, but I've struggled with writing goals, reviewing them frequently over the course of a long period of time. And this is something that I want to get better at. So I'm wondering if you're currently, writing down your goals for your life, or if you aren't. Arnold Schwarzenegger says in one of his famous talks, he says, if you don't know where you go, if you don't have a vision of where you're going, then you drift around and you don't go anywhere. And so I think that this book is accurate when it's telling us that that's the first thing we need to do is identify where are we going? What do we want to accomplish? And that's all we're saying when we write down goals is we're saying this is what I want to accomplish. This is where I want to go. And so that's what we want to start with. And I'll show you a couple of things real quick. So I was enrolled in Grant Cardone's Cardone University for about 3 years. Really good training program for sales and all that kind of stuff. He has his 10X planner. And so when you look at the 10X planner, and I'll go ahead and flip to a page that I haven't written on, you can see here that he has write your goals here and write your goals here. So Grant Cardone talks about writing your goals down twice per day, once in the morning and then once at the end of the day, because really the idea here is that this is going to help keep us on track. And I don't know if you need to write your goals down all the time, 1 or 2 times per day or 3 times per day or more. Grant Cardone says he wrote down his goals more than 2 times per day. And before he had his 10X planner, which if you don't have one, you can get one. But if you don't have one, Grant Cardone started out with just using this notepad, or he used yellow legal notepads, as he says in the 10X rule. Sorry, I'm just going to quit out of something on my computer here. But anyway, so I personally right now, I use a combination of notepads and paper. because I like to write stuff down. And then I have one of my assistants, one of my virtual assistants, digitize the notes and put them into like an organization file for me. And then so I like to write them down. And then I also like to use Notion for writing down my goals and a lot of my analytical stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so writing down goals is going to be super important. It's something that I'm going to be working on doing more. And it's not just about having a goal in your head, right? It's about having it written down so that you're visualizing it and seeing it. And Grant Cardone, I know we're talking about Jim Rohn, but Grant Cardone talks a lot about goals, so I thought I'd bring up a couple of the things that he talks about. And sorry, for some reason this thing on my computer keeps popping up for some reason. But Grant Cardone talks about goals a lot of times and says, we want to visualize as if we've already achieved whatever it is that we're writing down. So instead of saying, the goal is get something, get 10,000 email subscribers by whatever, say, he says, and I'm taking this out of context a little bit, but he says, I have 10,000 email subscribers, right? So he writes it as if he already has it, because he's basically coaching his mind to say, hey, I already have this, aka I'm naturally going to work towards getting it, is kind of the idea that he talks about. So writing out goals is the first thing that I wanted to share with you. And so let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is seeking knowledge. And so that's on page 51 here in the book. So one of the fundamental strategies of living the good life is knowing what information you need in order to achieve your aims. And once you know what you need to know, it's also helpful to know how to go about gathering that knowledge. One of the best things Mr. Shoaff did for me in those early days was instill in me the value of study. He said, if you wish to be successful, study success. If you wish to be happy, study happiness. If you want to make money, study the acquisition of wealth. Those who achieve these things don't do it by accident. It's a matter of studying first and practicing second. And so in the first step, we had what we did is we wrote down exactly what it was. We identified what it was, which Simon Sinek in his book says start with why, right? And so we can kind of use that methodology for finding what our North Star is. And so that's the first thing we want to do, is write down our goals on what is it? What do we want to accomplish? And we just talked about that. Well, the next thing it is to acquire wisdom, acquire knowledge on whatever it is that we need in order to get to where we want to go, basically. And so I'll give you a couple of examples on this. I have a couple of great books with me today. The first one is the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I think there's a couple books here on my shelf that really kind of changed my life. This is one of them. And on page 175 in this book, you can see there's this this chart here. And this is an organizational chart. And I wish I would have known this 5 years ago when I started my first business, because it would have been tremendously helpful for me. But this is something that I found to be really helpful, and I came across it because I was wanting to study and find out ways to get better at business. That was one of my goals. Obviously, I didn't have it written down because I was kind of an idiot. But hey, I'm here now. I'm working with you guys just like you're working as well. And so I'm going to be writing down my goals because this is really important to me on some of the things that I want to accomplish. And so anyways, going after knowledge, one way you can do that is by using books. And books are awesome because you can take an entire person's life work, a human being that spent 30, 50, 70 years mastering their craft, and they were kind enough to leave us their memoir, essentially, on what they found out during their time. And so there's so many great books, and books are a great way an easy way to seek information and get knowledge. Obviously, if you want to learn from Albert Einstein, you can't learn from him directly today, but you can read his book. He has this huge either biography or autobiography, and you can hear all about his life and everything that he learned and had to say. There's this cool book right here called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. This is another cool one. And, in this book, there is of course that's going to take me a second to find it now that I'm rolling the camera here and talking to you, but I want to find it real quick. It's worth it. Give me just a second. It's this image right here. And so, sorry if you can see it, those little balls say energy, and the idea is that if you put energy into one thing, you can get far. If you put energy into lots of little things, you can go not so far. You can go a little bit in all these different directions. So one thing that I did recently, just to help solidify some of my knowledge, is I recently ordered a bunch of flashcards, like index cards like we used in school. And this is something I'm going to write down on those index cards. And so every night when I'm brushing my teeth or whatever, or if I'm just walking around in my house, I want to be able to take out my flashcards and look. I have this new saying from a mentor of mine. I was on a call with him this week, and he says, "There is no burnout in this dojo," which is kind of a quote from a movie called Karate Kid, but mixed in with some of his language. And I like that because, you know, sometimes we get tired as business owners and entrepreneurs. And what he's telling us is like, dude, just you got to keep that to yourself, and you just got to go. There is no burnout in this dojo. So that's something that I want to be remembering. I want to remember this. I want to remember some stuff from this book. So I got some flashcards to help me remember some of the most important things that I'm learning. And so books is just going to be a great way to go. You can also do YouTube videos if you like to learn through video. Personally, I've pulled back a little bit on YouTube and limited myself to the amount of things that I watch on there, because what I was finding is that I was getting so many different opinions. And I know when you read a lot of books, it kind of seems like you might get different opinions, but I don't know. Video content versus a book is much more thought out, and there's a lot more commitment that goes into writing a book as opposed to a YouTube video. And so videos, a lot of times you'll watch ones that maybe are good and have truth, but man, when you start just watching video and video and video and video over and over and over again, yes, you are going to learn a lot of stuff, but one of the consequences with it is that you're going to hear a lot of conflicting talks and conversations and all that kind of stuff. And so that can make you confused and help you not achieve whatever it is that you're going after, because you are constantly stopping and starting new things because you're getting different information. That's just a thing that I'm testing right now. I could be wrong on that. If you've done that before and you found out that videos are better, please let me know. I love YouTube, but I've decided to pull back a little bit on the amount of things and the amount of people that I'm getting my information from. And so I'm getting more stuff from books than I am from YouTube right now, with a few select people that I still get information from there. So videos are great on YouTube. Books, you can do blogs. Depending on where you are in America, we have the library, so you can get free books there at the library. I got this book, and most of my books I get from World of Books, which is WOB.com. It's just used books that you can get. Books that cost $20, you can get them for $4 or $5 used. Get them shipped to your house. It's really nice. I place a couple of orders on World of Books every month. And then, of course, you can get books on Amazon, which is where I get a lot of the newest books that hit the market. I get those on Amazon, and books that just aren't available on World of Books, I get them on Amazon as well. So books, videos, blogs. Who else can you acquire information from? Mentors. Mentors are everything. And you can get really far just from books, and you'll be able to figure a lot of stuff out. But there's somebody out there. You might have to travel across the world to meet them. You might have to go get out of your comfort zone in order to meet them. You may have to pay them money in order to meet them. But there are mentors out there that have the answers. They've been to the place that you're trying to get to. And there is no faster way than to get somebody's full and undivided attention that has already accomplished what it is that you want to accomplish, and to get them to tell you what it is that you need to do in order to get to where you go. But that's going to be useless if we don't know where we go. So that's why we got to start with writing down our goals. And so we're doing that. Now that we have our goals written down, now we're seeking the wisdom through books. Once we're maxing out these books, there's probably a mentor. You may have to pay them. You may be able to find them. Depends on your situation. But a mentor is somebody that can help us really get to wherever it is that we're trying to go. So there's probably more ways to get wisdom and knowledge and information, but those are the ones that I'll stop with because that's pretty much mostly what I do. Okay, so that was my next point, which was point number 2. And Jim Rohn died in 2009, which is really sad because I never got to meet him. And like I said, he was the first person I ever listened to, and honestly, he changed my life. So I hope that you read some of his stuff and buy his books, go through any of his courses, listen to his stuff on YouTube. He has such a distinct voice with his tonality and how he talks. It's really incredible to listen to him speak. Learn how to change. That's strategy number 3. Okay, and this is actually one of my favorite ones that is kind of underrated. That I kind of underrated for a long time. So the mirror, and this is on page 67. So one day, Mr. Shoaff said, "Jim, if you want to be wealthy and happy, learn this lesson well. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job." Since that time, I've been working on my own personal development, and I must admit that it has been the most challenging assignment of all. This business of personal development lasts a lifetime. And boy, that couldn't be further from the truth. And it is a long and everlasting and ever ongoing, and it's a thing where we never really reach the summit. But it's something that we keep doing. And, that's kind of the fun thing about life is, hey, maybe we're not where we want to be today, but tomorrow we can get a little bit closer to where we want to go. And so that's what's really fun about this. Now, the thing that I wanted to talk about to you and wanted to talk about out loud a little bit here is essentially tracking. So he's saying here, learn how to change. And so I like to think of this as tracking. And this is something that I have just become crazy obsessed with this year in 2024. I track so many things, and it's been helpful because what gets measured gets managed. And so we're writing down our goals, and that's a great start. But what about other things that we're doing in our life? For example, I'm in real estate. So I get a little report sent to me each day that has all the different real estate related stats that I need to know. What are the interest rates? How many listings hit the market this last 7 days? How many things went pending? Things related to inventory and just relative to the market, to the real estate market. And I need to see that each and every morning. So each and every morning, I'm reading through that report, right? And so that helps me get the edge that I need because I need to be studying and learning that so that I can advise my clients correctly, maybe change any strategies that I'm doing personally. And so that's one thing that I track. I also track my paid advertising campaigns. How much did I spend yesterday? What was my cost per lead? How many conversions did we have? How many new customers do we have? Those types of things I'm studying on a daily basis as well too. And I'm looking at that every day, obsessing over it. I also do that with my finances, my personal banking, and I'll expand on that in a few minutes because that's actually going to be my next point here. And it's one that has changed my life, and I'm going to talk about it in a little bit more detail because it's a free one, it's an easy one, and anyone can do it starting today. So I guess to kind of expand onto his point here is that he talks about, learn how to change. In order to learn how to change, we need to be writing down and tracking our statistics on everything that we're doing in life. Honestly, even our dieting, which I haven't gotten to that yet, which I need to. But we need to be studying our statistics on our sleep, our eating, our health, kind of our whole outward existence as far as like our body goes, all that kind of stuff. And then we need to be studying the things like how many books are we reading, how many videos are we posting, how many emails are we sending, how many ads are we running, like those types of things. We need to be studying that because over a long period of time, when we can look at those metrics and look back at the data and see how things are going, from there we can course correct to make sure we're heading towards our North Star, which are the goals that we wrote down. Okay, so that's kind of my little commentary on that. And then the last one that we'll talk about here is to control your finances. So let me go to page 89. Okay, how to achieve financial. So money is an emotional topic, and most of us have, sorry, this is a big word for me, ambivalent feelings about it. I need to even look up what that means because I honestly have no idea. But on one hand, we want the security and comfort it can bring. And on the other hand, we fear financial success will somehow corrupt our ethics. Certainly, TV and movies do their parts to characterize wealthy people as scheming as scheming and evil. When was the last time you saw a program that depicted a rich person as the good guy? And then let me read this next little section here because I think it's helpful, especially if you are religious. It says, in religious circles, one often hears the Bible misquoted by well-meaning people. Instead of the love of money is the root of all evil, some people tell us that money is the root of all evil. Obviously, it is the complete quotation of the Bible which is correct. Okay? Anyways, so it's all about achieving financial freedom on that topic right there, which is controlling your finances. And so I'll talk about this for a second as we start to kind of wind down and wrap up the video here. And thanks for being with me on this one today. Yeah, so as far as tracking finances, this has been a big one for me. So I'll talk about exactly what I do every single morning. So every single morning when I wake up, and depending on what's going on in that season in my life, I wake up about 4:30 a.m. is about when I wake up. Okay, then what I do is I go downstairs, I drink some coffee because I'm pretty tired. I go for a quick walk. I listen to the Bible on audiobook. That's the first thing that I kind of do in the morning. And then once I get done, I come into my shed. So I have this shed. It's in my backyard. I built it. It has hardwood floors. It has insulation, windows, a bookshelf. It has hardwired internet out here. It has my computer set up, which has multiple monitors and stuff. This is kind of my command center. And this is where I it's away from my kids because I have kids and they can be a bit loud, and so I'm a little bit away from that, which is really nice. And so I come in here early in the morning and I go to my computer and I pull up Notion. And so I know that I'm going to be I'm going to be sharing a template with you guys. If you guys would like to have a free template of what I'm talking about so that you can use this for yourself as well too, just let me know if that's even of interest, because I'd only want to put that together if it's actually something that people would be interested in. So just let me know. You can send me an email or just comment on this video. But yeah, anyway, so what I do is I pull up Notion, and then what I do is I check my bank accounts. Okay, so how much money do I have in each account, and I write it down in my little Notion document so that I can track that each day. Okay, so that's the first thing I do. And then I currently have a mortgage, and so I see, okay, how much do I owe on my mortgage, and how much do I have left on that? And so I track that every single day. Okay, and then what I do is so now that we know the general numbers about my finances and whatnot, we need to get much more nitty gritty about it. And so I use two softwares to manage my transactions, and I could probably get away with one of them, but I don't know. Right now my system is I have two, and so I just use them both. One is called EveryDollar, which is Dave Ramsey's budgeting app, which is awesome. And so I use that, and so it has like a little drag and drop feature, and so I can create a budget inside of that software, and I connect in my bank account, and then for my personal and for my businesses, I drag and drop the transactions that come in and out, and I keep everything very organized that way. So that's the first software I use. It's called EveryDollar, and it's by Dave Ramsey's team. And then the next one that I use is called QuickBooks, which a lot of people have heard of. And I love QuickBooks because you can run lots of reports and kind of get a good understanding on where you're at in your business. And I also use it for prepping my own taxes. So I currently have a person that does do all of my taxes for tax filings and whatnot. But I personally am the one that hands off the books to my accountant to process all the stuff for taxes. And I do plan on having somebody help me with that in the future. But right now, where I'm currently at, I like to do it myself, because having my finger on the pulse of my personal financial situation, on my business's financial situation, and being able to see what's coming in, what's going out, that helps me stay accountable, which I really like, because it can get really easy, especially in America, to get subscriptions and pay money on a monthly recurring basis for no reason on things that you don't need. And so I had an extra Amazon bill because I used the AWS Web Services by Amazon, and I saw, oh shoot, I have another transaction on here for a good amount of money. And so I messaged their support, and I got disconnected from them, so I didn't get it resolved. But talking about it right now reminds me I need to go back and finish that. But the point is that I have my finger on the pulse, and so I'm seeing stuff hit my account, and I'm able to go through and make sure that I don't have too many subscriptions where I really don't need them, which helps me run as lean as possible. Because I know we live in a society where people love to have nice things like, nice cars and maybe some material possessions, and really there's nothing wrong with that at all, and really, but for me personally, I don't care about looking rich. I want to get rich. And I know that takes a long time, and it takes a lot of self-discipline. And I know that it's not what you see on my outward trappings, but I know it's what you see below the surface. And below the surface, I'm trying to make as strong as possible, because in the future, I want my family to not have to worry about anything ever. And I'm sure you probably want that for your family as well too. And so in order to get to a place like that, we got to sacrifice. And the sacrifice happens by not indulging on, pleasurable financial things, and, being willing to control yourself and control your spending, and to, save your money and invest your money wisely. And so anyways, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. And that's my goal. And, it might be your goal as well too. So, all right, I think that's probably enough talking for today. But yeah, if you guys want that little Notion thing, I actually have two things that I'd like to just run past you real quick, and then we'll wrap up. If you want that little Notion thing where it's like a document that I fill out each morning, if you'd like that as a template for free, let me know in the comments, and then I'll maybe put together a little landing page where you can go and download it. And then the other thing that I'll run by you is that this little organizational chart has really kind of changed my life. This book is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, by the way. Like, go buy it. Everybody's got to have a copy of this. But I've read a few books lately. I'm kind of looking over onto my bookshelf because I've been thinking about this idea about building a training program, because, I kind of want to put together like this, maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 hour long course of videos. And it kind of goes through books in a very specific order. And it kind of teaches how to go from start to finish on achieving your goals. So for example, I would teach a few things that I thought was really helpful in Start With Why, right? Which is starting with, figuring out your goals and where you want to go. Okay, so I want to start with why. And then once I do start with why, I'd also like to talk about The One Thing by Gary Keller, and maybe even a little bit of Essentialism by Greg McKeown, because they share the same concept that in order to go far, we must do less. Okay, and so it's not about just being sporadic and being crazy, but instead it's about knowing exactly where we want to go and focusing on that and not too many things, so that we can actually get somewhere. Okay, and then also I want to talk about the E-Myth Revisited and how an actual organizational chart works, and how you should set up me included in this, me not telling you what to do, but me included in this, how we set up the different categories inside of our businesses. So we have our marketing, our operations, and our finance, and at the top we have our chief operating officer, and there's a lot of details here that I think would be helpful. And so this kind of talks about how we could do our organizational chart, and then I'm kind of looking to see what else I could throw into it that would be pretty cool. There's another book that just came out by Dan Martell called Buy Back Your Time, which we could talk about, once we kind of got things kind of set up nicely, then how can we create nice systems in place so that we're not having to work ourselves to death, basically. So it'd be kind of like a collaboration of all these different books in a very specific order in order to help walk us through accomplishing whatever it is that we want to accomplish from start to finish. So if that kind of a training course, kind of a couple hour long thing, if that does sound like something of interest, please let me know. Probably comment on this video would be best, but if you want to send me an email even, I'm cool with that too. But yeah, other than that, I think that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for coming along. The book is 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness by Jim Rohn. You can go get a copy of this on Amazon or on World of Books, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day.